Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of the Bad Idea Bros. So today we are continuing on with the Today. In the last episode, you saw us get a lot of work done on this thing, which is why it's now looking like a complete bike again. Still very happy with how it's looking, loving the black wheels with the right riding. I think that really sets the bike off. However, you saw me throw a battery in this thing and it didn't quite go as planned. So that brings us to today. Now, the issue is definitely something electrical. As I think I mentioned in the last episode, there's only really a couple of things it can be. So the plan is to start diagnosing it. We'll have a look at the switch block, make sure the starter switch is engaging and disengaging, doing what it needs to be doing. We'll get the carburetor and the airbox out of the way so that I can get to the starter motor and make sure nothing's making contact there that shouldn't be. And I guess we'll check the starter solenoid as well. That's a known fault for these things. If it gets stuck, then it can cause issues. So guys, quite a bit to do today, and no time like the present, so let's get into this thing. Okay guys, so we've fast forwarded a little bit. I didn't bother filming this because it really wasn't interesting, but I've got the carburetor and the airbox out of the bike. You can see in there that gives us access in behind here to the starter motor. So I can start checking the lead wires, just make sure everything's where it should be and nothing's crossed over. And I've also pulled the start solenoid out of here. So basically all that is a switch. As soon as you turn the key on, hit the start button, it energizes across these poles and provides power to the starter motor. Now I can see that there are some spots in the harness, I don't know if it's going to show up, that have been worn through. Worst case scenario on this is that there is a crossover in the loom. There's two wires touching that shouldn't be. I really hope that's not the case, so we're going to start simple and then get to the harder stuff as we go along. Well guys, I've pulled the front cover off this bike once again because of where we were checking this. Now you would have seen in that footage previously that I was giving this thing a bit of a tap with the screwdriver. That was to try and unstick it because sometimes these can get stuck and they continue to make contact across the points consistently. You could hear, hopefully you could hear anyway, with the multimeter I was checking continuity and it was constant. That shouldn't be happening. This should be, there should be no connection on this until you hit the start switch. So, as I said, starting easy and working up. If this is not the fault, I mean, it could still be the fault. This thing could be wrecked. I don't know. That'll be sort of next port of call. But we are slowly working our way up to the switch. This, like I said, feels like it's moving freely. Like it doesn't feel like there's any issue there at all. Could be wrong, so we'll pop that off and have a look. But what I wanted to do was get into here and just have a look at the wiring harness that was coming out the back of the key, well, the ignition. There is a bit of a plug there. I'm going to have to take a few things off to get to where I need to be, but I'm going to pull those off and just have a look at the harness and make sure there's no breaks or anything like that in it that's making contact that shouldn't be. And from there we'll work up to the switch. So guys, more to do, but just one of those finicky problems that does happen from time to time. visually inspecting all of the harness in there, it is fine. There's no breaks, there's nothing really obvious anyway. So unfortunately, it's not just a matter of cleaning the switch. That's fine. There's no visible breaks, so I can't just repair a broken wire. Now the harness travels down behind here, it follows the frame, comes underneath here. I don't know if you guys are going to see, possibly not. The main harness is basically just up in there and comes back around and enters in the floor panel here where it keeps everything. Now we come back to this guy again because this is seemingly where the problem's coming from. My guess is that it's going to be the start solenoid, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So I'm going to order one anyway. They're a cheap part. We'll get another one of these in, and hopefully that will sort out the problem. But it's not the end of it today. I think we might push on. I'll put the carburetor and the airbox back on the bike, and this thing does have a kickstart as well. It's not solely a push button start, so I can potentially still try and get it running. So the battery's in, battery's charged. We're not going to worry about the switch at the moment. We'll just get everything back together and see if we can't get it to go. There we go, guys. We've now got the wee scooter back together, which is kind of where we started the episode. So no ground made other than a bit of diagnosis. I do feel like it's possibly the start solenoid. It seems like the most likely culprit. Everything looks fine. The wiring harness is in good condition. There's no visible broken wires. The ignition switch is good. It's moving through its range of motion the way it should. There's really nothing that appears wrong with this bike. So I'm very nervous that it's going to have some finicky problem that I can't get on top of without disassembling the whole bike, but fingers crossed it's a start solenoid. So guys, that is as much as I can get done on this bike for now. I'm going to order the new bits, and yeah, we'll come back to you when they arrive. Welcome back, guys. So the last thing you saw on the Today was it being basically where it was when we started the episode. A little frustrating, of course, but hey, these things happen. So a bit of time's passed. I've got some parts in the mail. We have a new start solenoid, so that should hopefully alleviate the issue that we've been having. Off camera, I've put the carburetor and the airbox back on the bike. You don't need to see that. You saw it in the first assembly. That's fine. Have tried to kick it over. Normally wait to do these things on film with you guys. I like, the process is important to me, but kind of on a time crunch with this one. Now, did decide to carry on and just see what was going to happen, and unfortunately it was nothing. Now, the problem was that we had no spark. So, assuming that it has a faulty coil as well, I've gone ahead and ordered one of them too. So guys, that's the next step. We're going to throw these new parts at the bike, cross our fingers, hope like hell that this thing actually goes. But yeah, let's push on. Let's find out if this thing's going to play a game. Well, here we go again, guys. You are probably sick of seeing the scooter in this state, but unfortunately this is where we're stuck. Now, bucket is still out of there. There's a big black plastic opening that stores helmets that goes in here. You can see in the center that the carburetor is back on the bike, and the airbox just down to that lower right is also refitted. Now, there is a little thing with that airbox in that it's not the one the bike came with. The reason being, I figured it needed a new one. In front of camera now is the old original airbox. You can see that there's some dodgy Tyvek tape on the bottom and there's some big open holes there. So whoever's had this bike previously has decided to try and up the airflow in this thing, and
we're going to throw that aside where it deserves to be, because that doesn't help other than getting the air filter wet, because they're a paper filter in these. So this is a second-hand airbox, new air filter and everything. It's all original. I'm not molested at all. It is completely standard, and that's how I wanted it to be. In working through that, I also noticed that with the carburetor, the diaphragm in the original was cracked to buggery, so that was not going to be helping either. So we have replaced that too. Now guys, only a short bit of work today, which is the coil and the start solenoid, so I'm going to plug those guys in and hope for the best. Alright guys, so that's got those bits replaced. Did it off camera, just wanted to do it quickly. I'm pretty ready to be done with this one, to be honest. So the coil, where are we? The coil is now done. That's plugged in, and just down through this inspection hole, hopefully you can see that the plug lead is just in there on the spark plug. Start solenoid is plugged in, and let's see how this goes. As you can see, the battery is flat. Well, sorry, as you can hear, the battery is flat. But more importantly, we still have the same problem. So, not start solenoid. Something definitely awry with the bike. And I'm out of time. Yeah, this is as far as I can go with this thing. I'm going to finish it. I'll put the bucket in the hole here, so we'll get all that bolted in. And we've got a nice custom seat for the bike as well, so I'll get that on there and get it looking finished, but unfortunately not operational. Now, any of you guys that have followed the channel for any amount of time know that we definitely like to finish what we start. And this is no different. I'm really genuinely frustrated that this bike isn't going to be in rideable state. The plan for this episode was to finish the thing, get out and take it for a run. We do have rain at the moment, but hey, you know, I ride in any conditions. Unfortunately, the bike is not going to allow that. But I'm going to get it as done as possible. So I'm going to do a little time lapse of the seat and putting that bucket in there. We'll give you a look at this really nice custom seat that the bike's got. And hey, it'll be Instagram finished, which, you know, it'll look the part, but, you know, we don't bullshit on this channel, guys. I like to tell it how it is, and this one's not going to be started, unfortunately. So let's put it back together, and at least you guys will get to see it in one piece. Well guys, there we have it. This thing is as complete as I can get it with the time scale that I've got. So that seat I absolutely love. Went for something a little different and crazy this time with the Mexican blanket, but I thought, you know what, this kind of looks like a bit of a hot rod build, so why not give it a hot rod sort of fabric for the seat. Definitely something different, and hot rod is usually not something you'd use in terms of a scooter, but the Akrapovic exhaust with the titanium heat wrap, the blacked out wheels with the white riding tires, and just that grey, it just lends itself to like old school hot rod style, and I really dig it. So bike's obviously now legal. We've got the new license plate and everything on it, so ironically it would have been good to go on the road, which was the goal, and I was super excited to see how this angry little beast of an exhaust would have sounded. Should have crackled quite nicely for the lead twist and go. You guys know that the paint came from the leftovers of the CT90 build. Love this colour, and there was enough to use. It's not perfect, it probably looks better on film than it is, but pretty happy with how it came up. The wheel paint, the black wheel paint was also a leftover, but I think it really suits the bike, and I love this colour scheme. So the material was obviously specifically bought for this job. Not much of it, it just suits it. I really like the look. Could be controversial, some of you guys might not agree, but I build bikes the way that I like them. You'll notice there's pretty much no badges on the bike. Thought I would do some custom Today logos. There's normally the factory ones are around here somewhere, but I just like the clean look. So there's only actually 2 stickers on this bike. One which is a little bit of a joke and a little bit of a laugh is the Go Baby Go sticker, Gone in 60 Seconds inspired. That's just on the keys fob there. And we've obviously got the drippy Honda, later model Honda badge style on there. Again, very minimal, but it's just the way that the build worked out. But guys, this isn't the normal sort of thing that I do. We do like to finish these builds when we start them, but this one's unfortunately beaten me.
And although it's not finished, I'm pretty happy with how much we've achieved in this short space of time. But guys, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I am out of time with this build. I had a very small schedule for this one, and hey, might have bitten off a bit more than I can chew, clearly. But anyway, guys, in the next episode, we will be revealing why I am out of time. And I need to go and get some stuff ready because I've got a plane to catch. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.